And then I did another gig for Roblox, which is really nice. I'm like starting to secure some experience, some job stability for the future. And then one day, this one fateful day, one of the staff members at Roblox asked, "Hey, Trust, you said you can make hats, right?" And that's how it all went down.
Not yet. You're out of focus on your side. So, Trust, could you brag a little bit about yourself and talk about your experiences on Roblox, including what you've done and kind of just overall your experience so far?
So I joined Roblox around April 2012. Well, first off, actually, let me be formal about this. Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about my life story before I write off my autobiography. This is a great draft. So I joined Roblox around April 2012. The reason, purpose is unknown. I think it was some sort of advertisement. I think I was watching a video on the destruction of like a flooding building or something like that. I really love destruction physics, so I thought Roblox would be awesome. I get to play with physics. I get to destroy stuff. I really love physics, and that's what got me into Roblox, even though I would just end up being a builder and then later a modeler. Not a programmer. I did programming, though. I had an internship during high school for programming, and I learned a lot of things on internship, and one of the things I learned was that I hate programming and computers in general. I really cut my teeth in August of 2014 when I built my first PC. From there, my PC, believe it or not, my previous computer was not powerful enough to run Roblox at all, including Studio. I couldn't even operate Studio over 3 frames per second, if I recall correctly. After I built my first PC with the help of my brother, I started developing on Roblox. I started doing building and quote-unquote modeling on Roblox. My first ever creations were guns. And then after that, I joined my first studio, did more work for them. That studio, unfortunately, never took off. And then after that, I think I did a couple more stints at smaller studios where I would eventually land at Rolve. I kind of started doing stuff for Rolve in September of 2014, but stuff didn't really take off until the next couple years. Although I would end my time at Rolve around June 2016. But I made my first game, my first ever led game that I directed, called Tropics Paradise, which took a year or so to develop and release. It wasn't the best in terms of financial success, but for long-term success, it did eventually yield a toy of its own, which came out back in spring of this year, a mystery box toy.
Oh yeah, Roblox toy?
Yeah, it's a Roblox toy. It's a Roblox toy. It was called Seashell Fanatic Sally. Seashell Fanatic Sally. I can't even say that 3 times.
Dude.
And after that, I got an opportunity to work for Roblox as a contractor for the Bloxies, and it was a really, really lucky opportunity, and I'll talk more about that later. And then afterwards, I would eventually be in UGC. So it's been a long, lucky road is what I can describe my experience on Roblox as. A lot of luck, a lot of good timing, right places, right times. Yeah, it was a lot of luck.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm curious. So what all did you do with Rolve? What game specifically did you work on, and what did you do as a team member of Rolve?
So in Rolve, let me tell you how I got into Rolve. It's really funny. When I was starting out as a builder, one of my dream groups I always wanted to join was Pinewood Builders. You remember them?
I do remember Pinewood Builders, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to them, but the owner of the group was called Diddleshot, and I thought I met the real Diddleshot on Skype. You remember the Skype days?
I do, yeah.
And I thought I met him on Skype. And Diddleshot gave me a quote-unquote free map that he quote-unquote built, allegedly built. He didn't build it. It was a stolen map. He wasn't the real Diddleshot, by the way. That map was Dust 2. And if you played Rolve's games, I believe it's called Counter-Strike Sauce. We had our own framework called the Sauce engine. But yeah, the way I got into Rolve's development team was that I gave them the Dust 2 map, saying, I have this, I made this. I basically lied to get into Rolve. I was like 13 at the time, 14 at the time. I didn't know better. And I got into Rove and I started doing some building stuff. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what I built. Even if I built anything at all, I don't think I did much until the year later.
Yeah.
And I think I was more so of a management person with some building aspects. That management, including the hiring of TC 8950 and another person you very well known, Mighty Baseplate.
You hired Mighty Baseplate?
So let me tell you a story about Mighty Baseplate. I didn't hire Mighty Baseplate initially as a programmer because when he shows his programming examples, it was this game based off this castle invasion game or something to use cards on, a mobile game that he made on Roblox. I didn't like it because his UI sucked, but it's better now. No offense, but I was just being blunt how it was back then. But I did want to hire him, recruit him for voice acting. And actually, I still have some messages, private messages on Roblox from like 2015 of him asking if he could do voice acting for our games.
I do remember that, yeah.
To be honest, I wasn't really the best fit for Rove at the time, but considering what Mighty Baseplate and TC8950 have done when I hired them, I felt like I did good at my job hiring them. Let's just say that. It showed after a month when you saw Counterblocks on the front page, and then eventually Gun Game. And if you don't know, Gun Game was the original name for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And fun fact, originally in Gun Game, I voice acted the deaths alongside TC8950.
Yeah. Well, back to my list of questions. So, I mean, obviously, based on your Twitter, I've seen a lot of good come out of what you have done on Roblox. I guess from your perspective, how has your life changed since starting with Roblox, before UGC, before DevRol, before all of what you've done? How has your life changed?
Well, in the beginning, I was just some random kid trying to get a high rank in the Robloxian army, or Fear. I wonder if Fear is still around.
I'm actually going to look at that.
Yeah, actually, let's audit the Roblox groups real quick and see if they're still around. But other than that, as I started developing, I was going from group to group to group. After Roll, I was like, damn, I got started all over after I left Roll. It was actually a really sad time. Really depressing time. Then I started my own game, Tropics Paradise. People loved it. Tropics Paradise gave me some hope, especially after Roll and Project Minigames. You know, I finally have stuff in my own command, and it's actually working. It's like working. We're developing. It's all coming together. And then one day I woke up, and a buddy of mine named Spooks HD, he reached out to me saying, hey, we're trying to assemble a team for the Bloxies. And I was like, sure, I'll take a shot. And in that team, I also met my best friend. His name is Os_3. You can see how we're working. I'm working with him together on UGC and now our upcoming game, Tycoon Hospital. And it was also because of him we got into the Bloxies, because the Roblox staff loved him. And during the development, I saw why they loved him. He was a really, really good developer. But turns out we were also the same person. But yeah, after the Bloxies, things got hopeful because people like starting to see me. And then I did another gig for Roblox, which was really nice. I'm like starting to secure some experience, some job stability for the future. And then one day, this one fateful day, one of the staff members at Roblox asked, hey, Trus, you said you can make hats, right? And that's how it all went down.
Really?
Yeah, that's how UGC started, for me at least.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit more about that. So what has been your experience with UGC so far? Because, I mean, dude, I'm going to bring it up now because, like, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago, you paid off your parents' house? Like, obviously, it's doing pretty well for you.
It's been really swell, and I made a lot of mistakes on the way, and that's a good thing for UGC. UGC is a test program right now. It's in beta, and everyone in it is helping to test out the program. So really, in the beginning of UGC, it was a lot of mistakes, a lot of like, uh-oh, that was not a good idea. And then as time went on, as I built up a reputation with UGC, especially with my presence on Twitter, it became smooth sailing from there. It just became my life, really. Like, I'm doing full-time university, and then I'm doing full-time UGC. The UGC has been very life-changing. You know, I was expecting to be an accountant right after university, but now I have my own business that I founded last year, which is 1 year anniversary was just a month ago. And now my parents have no more debts.
Dude.
I have a car. which by the way is exciting. A lot of people get their cars from parents, but my mother could not even afford the car insurance alone for me. So I could not get a car whatsoever. Even if it worked, we couldn't afford a car for me. So getting that Honda Civic back in January was really awesome. It was really life-changing.
And then the last question. So if you could describe your story in just 2 or 3 words up until this point, what would those words be and why?
I'm gonna need to take an hour to think about this.
Well, you don't freaking have an hour. Get it done. 30 seconds, dude.
Oh, no. Okay, no. I guess the best way to describe my journey on Roblox, as I said before in the intro, it's been a lucky journey. That's it. Just a lucky journey. I got here through a lot of luck, a lot of good work. Apparently, I don't think it was a lot of good work, but the people I work for said I was a good worker, so I guess that's what it is. But I think it's a lot of luck, a lot of sheer luck. So it's been a lucky journey.